guys, welcome back to the Kyyah Savage YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you never miss a video. If you are new to the Kyyah Savage community, Kyyah Savage is all about providing up-to-date and relevant career advice so that you can make informed decisions about your career. I especially like to make advice for working professionals and college students because I feel like those people are the most guidance and advice. Okay, today I will be talking about how to get a job in regulatory affairs. I feel like I've talked a lot about my personal experience, but I haven't said, okay, these are the things you need to do to secure a role in regulatory affairs. I'm gonna talk a little bit about how the job market in regulatory is becoming even more competitive, as well as the number of positions available, what kind of companies you can work for, so on and so forth. So make sure you stick around and watch the entire video. All right, let's get started. I'm coming to you with a little bit more of a relaxed vibe. I feel like I'm giving like Caribbean energy, you know, with my braids, and then I don't think I've ever worn a bandana in a video, but you know, there's a first time for everything. Also, I'm just feeling really good right now because I got my nails done, you know? Yeah. So how to get a job in regulatory affairs. Step one would definitely be to pursue some sort of science degree during your undergrad. Rarely do I ever see anybody in regulatory affairs who only has their high school degree. And in my first job, I actually had a lot of people on my team who only had their high school degree. And when the company was acquiring another one and then moving on, I would say 98% of them got laid off. And the person who ended up staying was the person who managed all those people who didn't have their degree. So definitely, I think it'll be really hard and challenging to get into regulatory if you only have your high school degree. I would almost say it's nearly impossible. And I say that because a lot of people are going to pharmacy school now and getting their doctorate and trying to get into regulatory affairs because they don't want to be in retail pharmacy anymore. You go to school, you end up in $200,000 debt, and then you're working in a retail pharmacy where you have horrible hours, you're dealing with customers, and you're not even getting paid that much because it's so oversaturated. And I think the number of pharmacy schools are like doubling or tripling. So you have a lot of competitors in the market. So their doctorate, whether they'll use it or not, compared to someone with a high school degree, unfortunately, it's just unlikely. I think that people who have their high school degrees probably could learn on the job and figure it out if science was something they were interested in, but that's just how some corporations think. So that's the first thing, is that you should pursue your bachelor's of science in biology, pharmacology, chemistry, biomedical engineering, something of the science background. So the number two thing you need to do is gain some sort of relevant experience. I told myself I wasn't gonna mention me, but I did have a lot of medical internships. I had a surgical internship. I had my actual pharmacy job. So I worked as a pharmacy technician for a majority of my college experience. I volunteered in hospitals. Those are the kind of things that you need to do while you're in your undergraduate years. If you majored in something else and you already finished college and now you're interested in branching into regulatory, that's something you also should do, is getting internships, fellowships, you know, any kind of experience to expose you to pharmaceuticals, biology, and give you that attainable knowledge. Because I feel like almost any medical experience you have can be intertwined into the regulatory workspace. Even if you're not interested in regulatory, maybe you're interested in medical writing, or you're interested in clinical affairs or medical affairs or pharmacovigilance, or even health economics outcome research or market access. I do believe that having some sort of science background paired with some sort of scientific experience will help you navigate more easily into pharmaceutical industry. So the third thing you need to do is prepare for your interviews thoroughly. I do believe that a lot of what sets some people apart from others is passion and confidence. When you're going into an interview for regulatory affairs, like I said, you're going against a lot of competitors. So you have someone who went to school to become a pharmacist, okay? They just did 4 years undergrad and then they did another 3 years just to become a doctor of pharmacy. And I'm sure that they had a reason or a passion or a desire, hopefully it wasn't just money, to go and pursue that pharmaceutical degree. So when they're going into their interviews, they're speaking with a sort of passion about why they're interested in regulatory affairs and what navigated them there. Even if they're not even telling the truth, because sometimes I think people say like, oh, I went to pharmacy school for blah, 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 and then you ask them, you know, as a friend or in colleague conversation, and they're like, oh, I just went because I wanted a stable job or my parents made me do it or whatever. So I think definitely when you're interviewing, be yourself, be very natural, be confident, and speak to them with passion. When I go on interviews and I'm interviewing for any kind of pharmaceutical company, it doesn't matter the therapeutic space. So let's just say dermatology. I was interviewing with a company. I had never interviewed with a company that only did dermatology, their primary focus was dermatology. But let's just say dermatology was the area of interest. Before my interview, I would look at the different drugs that they have in the pipeline. And also, skincare is very important to me. I get a facial once a month. I obviously have an esthetician. I do my own skincare routines at home. I do a facial every Wednesday and Saturday. I don't play around when it comes to my skin. And I've gone to a dermatologist before for an allergic reaction I had. You can actually see the video on my personal YouTube page where I talked about being allergic to, I think it was amoxicillin or azithromycin or something. But I went to a dermatologist and they told me that I was allergic. And for me, I feel like your skin, you have to love the skin you're in. And I feel like your skin, how it is perceived by the world, allows you to have a certain type of confidence. I don't know, I feel better and happier and more myself when my skin is clear and glowing. And I personally couldn't imagine people who have skin diseases where they're not able to just feel free and beautiful and lovely in the skin that they're in. So working in regulatory affairs or a department or for a company that is helping people with their self-confidence and their mental health, like how we see ourselves plays a lot with our mind. So working on a regulatory team that is helping people combat those issues, the experience is invaluable. And I think that having a passion for skincare and dermatology makes the work all that more exciting and all that more rewarding. And in order to be in regulatory affairs, you have to love what you're doing because it's time consuming, it's tedious, some of the work, it's very stressful, it's very time intensive, it can be a stressful environment. So you see how I just answered that question about how it would be so great to work in dermatology? When you're interviewing, have some sort of connectivity. Because the thing about regulatory affairs is I think a lot of people are entering regulatory or industry because obviously the money. They don't want to be in debt from student loans and stuff like that. But what people in interviews want to see is it can't just be about the money. The money will come, okay? When you get into regulatory or industry, the money will come. You'll find opportunities that will help you pay all the debts that you've ever had. You have to have some sort of passion and connectivity to the project because otherwise you're going to lose interest and it's not going to be fun for you. You're not going to like doing the work and your colleagues and your managers are going to be annoyed with you all the time. So next tip is to be prepared for your interviews and come with a level of passion, come with a level of confidence. Don't doubt yourself. Don't in the interview be like, oh, I don't know, I'm not that experienced, or I don't bring any self-doubting beliefs because when you internalize that, people can feel it. And if I started the video out and said, I don't give the best career advice or, I'm not the most experienced career coach, but all you heard was, this girl doesn't even know what she's talking about. And whereas I might get support in the comments, subconsciously you're always gonna be thinking, okay, does she actually give good advice? She doesn't even believe it herself. The next thing for getting into regulatory affairs, I definitely think is connecting with recruiters on LinkedIn, Monster, Career Builder, Indeed. Recruiters are, more than likely now gonna be your ticket in. I think regulatory job opportunities are increasing. We're seeing more and more pharmaceutical companies pop all over the place, and we're seeing more regulatory opportunities come available. But on the other hand, you're also seeing companies automate a lot of regulatory activities. So publishing, that whole division, or regulatory submissions and like ECTD management, I think a lot of companies are moving to just computerize that and move human error from that. When you're linking documents, when you're linking reports, I think they're removing all the people who used to do that, and now they're putting more automation. And it's funny because that's how I got into regulatory affairs, was I started in submission. I was a lead associate in submissions and I got the opportunity to work on some clinical projects, but that was literally my breakthrough. So whereas I could have given you that advice maybe 5 years ago to say, find a publishing or a submissions job, they may not even be available, or they may not have a lot of those jobs available now. Okay, I think I've given you guys a lot of insight into how to get into regulatory affairs. At the end of the day, make sure you're pursuing regulatory because it's something that you're interested in, you're intrigued by the drug development process. Regulatory can be really, really fun if you like it, but it also can be really dreadful if you don't. And I've had a lot of friends who have pursued regulatory and they've ended up hating it, or they hate it now and they're trying to find a way to get out because they feel it's boring and repetitive. Every job you do in life and everything you do in life is all about perception. So you perceive your job as being sucky and you hate it, it's gonna be sucky messy and you'll probably end up hating it more. So pursue the regulatory for the right reasons. If you have any more questions about regulatory affairs, make sure you leave those comments down below. I love to engage with you guys in the comments, and of course that's how a lot of my YouTube videos are birthed. This video was birthed from a YouTube comment. So if you also have any more additional questions, you can visit careersavage.com to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. And I think that's it. I think I've given you guys enough action items for this video. All right, until next time guys, bye.